Arrival of the mighty. The stars above Earth shimmered like tiny fires, but one of them wasn't a star at all. It was a Varnock warship, dark, huge, and silent, watching Earth like a hunter watches prey. Inside the warship, alien soldiers stood, in formation, their armor shining, their faces full of pride. General Rothal, the Varnock commander, looked down at the blue planet. His voice echoed through the command chamber. "These humans are soft," he said. "Look at them. They crawl, they bleed easily, they fear the unknown." The Varnock had conquered 7 planets in 3 years. On each one, the natives had surrendered. In fear, Earth, they believed, would be no different. "Send the ground team," Arthal ordered. "Let them see our strength." The dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere like burning arrows, piercing the sky over a place called Colorado. Inside one of them was Captain Trell, tall and strong. His people called him a gravity master on his homeworld. He could crush stones with his bare hands. Today, he expected to crush bones just as easily. The ships landed in a clearing near a military base. Trees trembled as metal touched Earth's ground. Trell stepped out first, weapon ready. His boots sank slightly into the soil, but he didn't notice the strange pull at his legs. Not yet. Behind him, 20 elite Varnock soldiers followed. All wore heavy armor and carried plasma rifles. A perfect invasion force, they thought, but something was wrong. Trell took a step forward and frowned. His legs felt heavy, not like usual training drills. His heart beat faster than normal. He raised his rifle, but his arms began to tremble. "What is this?" he muttered. One soldier behind him groaned. "Sir, my spine, it hurts." Another collapsed, gasping, "My chest. Like something's crushing me." Within minutes, half the team was kneeling or lying down, groaning in pain. Sweat poured from their skin. Armor plates felt like they weighed mountains. They had trained in zero gravity, in simulated ice storms, even under fire, but nothing prepared them for Earth's invisible weapon, its gravity. Trell looked around in disbelief. He tried to radio the warship, but even lifting his arm was a struggle. "This planet is cursed," someone whispered, "or we are cursed for underestimating it." From behind the trees, a group of human soldiers watched quietly. They hadn't fired a shot. Their commander, Sergeant Morales, looked through binoculars and laughed under his breath. "Are they drunk?" one soldier asked. "Nope," Morales replied. "They're just meeting gravity for the first time." The humans approached slowly, not raising their weapons. One Varnock soldier panicked and fired a shot, but it went wild. The plasma bolt hit a tree, burning a hole through it, but Morales didn't flinch. Instead, he walked right up to Trell, who was now on one knee, breathing hard. "Welcome to Earth," Morales said calmly, "where even walking is a workout." Trell looked up at him with wide eyes. He tried to stand, but failed. His pride cracked as deeply as the rocky soil beneath him. "How do you move so easily?" he asked. Morales shrugged. "This is normal for us. You called us feeble, didn't you? Seems like your muscles disagree." Up in orbit, General Roythal watched through a live feed. His jaw tightened, his elite soldiers brought to their knees, by a planet's weight. No bullets, no missiles, just gravity. He turned to his science officer. "Why didn't our sensors detect this?" he snapped. "They did, sir," the officer replied. "But we assumed gravity was only a number. We didn't think it mattered." Arthal slammed his fist on the console. "We came to conquer. Now we look like fools, on the ground." Morales offered Trell a bottle of water. "You okay?" he asked, not mocking, just curious. Trell took the bottle with shaking hands. "Your world is a battlefield," he said quietly. "Even the air fights us." Morales chuckled. "Yeah, Earth toughens you up. It always has." As the sun rose, behind the mountains, it cast long shadows over the broken pride of the Varnock. They had come expecting an easy win. Instead, Earth had given them a lesson without firing a single shot. The weight of the world. Captain Trell sat inside a human tent. His armor scattered on the ground beside him. He couldn't wear it anymore. Not with Earth's gravity pulling on every inch of his body like an anchor. His muscles ached, his chest still burned with every breath. Around him, his soldiers lay in silence, too tired to speak. Outside the tent, the humans were moving like ants, quick, strong, and calm. Sergeant Morales walked past with a full crate of weapons in his arms, laughing with his team as if this day was just another routine. Trell watched in disbelief. How could these feeble creatures carry so much weight with such ease? The Varnock science officer, Relan, entered the tent holding a scanner. His face was pale green, his eyes wide. "Captain," he said, "I've run the numbers. Earth's gravity is nearly triple what we trained in back home. I feel it, Trell muttered, trying to stretch his back. Why didn't Command prepare us for this? They knew, Relin said quietly, but they thought it was a small detail. They believed our strength would overcome any challenge. Trell looked outside again. A female human carried a wounded deer across her shoulders, humming a song as she walked. The animal was bigger than her, yet she moved like it weighed nothing. Do you see that? Trell asked. Their strength isn't just physical, it's in their bones, their hearts, their habits. Relin nodded. We've misjudged them, sir. Later that evening, Sergeant Morales entered the tent holding 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Trell, who took it with both hands, barely managing not to spill it. You staying long? Morales asked, sitting on a nearby crate. I don't know, Trell replied. My men can't even stand upright without gasping for air. Morales looked around, then said, I've seen kids in boot camp do better on their first day. Pride stung, but he didn't argue. How do you train your people for this world? He asked. Morales grinned. We don't. We just grow up with it. Trell's eyes narrowed. Can you teach us? That question made Morales pause. He looked Trill in the eye and asked, You really want to train under humans? Trell nodded slowly. If we ever wish to return with dignity, we must earn your respect first. All right then, Morales said, standing up. But there's one rule, no complaints. The next morning, Morales gathered his team and introduced Trell and 3 other Varnak soldiers to the human base camp. These boys thought Earth was easy, Morales said loudly. Let's show them what it means to survive on this rock. Training began with a simple jog, but for the Varnak it was a nightmare. Every step felt like dragging mountains with their legs. By the 5th minute, 2 had collapsed. Morales didn't yell, he just waited and said. Again, they lifted sandbags, climbed ropes, pushed tires, their alien bodies screamed with pain. But day by day, something changed. They began to sweat less, breathe steadier, their posture improved, and their arms no longer shook when lifting weights. Trill fell face first into the dirt one afternoon, groaning. Morales knelt beside him. You giving up? He asked. Trell spat out a mouthful of grass. Not today. Weeks passed, and the Varnak, who once sneered at humans, now respected their strength. They saw soldiers running through mud with packs heavier than plasma rifles. They watched engineers carry steel beams like they were paper. They witnessed mothers farming fields and children carrying buckets twice their size. Earth had forged its people in pressure, and now it was forging the Varnak too. One night, around the fire, Trell looked up at the stars. We thought your species was weak, he said to Morales, but now I know the truth. This planet raised warriors. Morales didn't smile. He just sipped his coffee and said, You ain't seen winter yet. Trell laughed for the first time in weeks. It was a heavy, deep sound, full of pain and pride. In orbit, General Rythal received reports from the ground. He watched the footage of his once proud soldiers being trained like new recruits. At first, he felt anger, but then came understanding. We underestimated them, Arthal whispered. And we underestimated their world. Feeble no more. The morning fog covered the human training ground like a soft white blanket. In the distance, Trell stood tall, sweat dripping from his brow. He held a bar of steel above his head, his muscles trembling but holding firm. Around him, human soldiers watched in silence, no longer seeing him as a joke, but as one of their own. 6 weeks had passed since the Varnak elite landed on Earth. What began as a failed invasion had turned into something else, a lesson, a transformation. Earth's gravity hadn't broken them, it had rebuilt them. Sergeant Morales clapped slowly, walking up beside Trell. Didn't think you'd last this long, he said. I didn't either, Trell replied, lowering the weight and breathing deeply, but I've learned something important here. Morales raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah, what's that? That true strength is not just muscle, Trell said. It's the will to rise when everything pulls you down. Behind them, the other Varnak soldiers were doing push-ups in sync with the humans. Their backs no longer curved, their arms no longer shook. They had adapted, slowly, painfully, but completely. In orbit, General Rythal watched through a secure transmission. He had been silent for days, now choosing observation over command. The footage showed something he never expected: Varnak troops, training side by side with humans, laughing, pushing, sweating together. They don't look defeated anymore, his science officer said. Arthal didn't answer right away. His mind was processing more than just visuals. He saw culture breaking and new ideas forming. He saw a future, one not built on domination, but on cooperation. Back on Earth, Trell sat beside Morales during evening chow. he carefully chewed a piece of roasted meat, still getting used to the flavor and spice. "There is one thing I must say," he began. "Before we came here, we called your people feeble. A mistake I now regret." Morales nodded. "Takes guts to admit that." Trell looked out at the stars just beginning to shine. "We trained for war. But Earth trained you for survival," he said. "Even your children run faster than our warriors. That's gravity for you." Morales smirked. "Makes every step count." Terrell turned serious. "When I return home, I want to bring more than battle reports. I want to bring your ways." Morales leaned back, folding his arms. "You sure your people will listen?" "If they see what I've seen," Terrell replied, "they'll have no choice." Later that night, the Varnak flag was taken down from their camp. In its place, a small cloth hand-painted by the human children nearby, it showed a Varnak, and a human shaking hands under Earth's sun. No order was given to fly it. No command required. It just felt right. The final trial came on the 7th week. A mountain run 10 miles uphill through rocks, wind, and shifting ground. Morales ran with his usual squad. Trell and Tavarnak followed. At first, the humans led, but as the air thinned and the ground steepened, something changed. Trell passed the last checkpoint and didn't stop. His legs moved like pistons, his chest rose and fell with rhythm. He reached the summit first, dropping to one knee with pride. His fists clenched, eyes staring into the sky. Morales arrived a minute later, panting with a grin. "Well, I'll be damned," he said. "You actually beat me. Earth made me do it," Trell replied with a weak smile. "Your planet refused to let me stay weak." The humans cheered, and so did the Varnak. Together they stood on the peak, not as enemies or trainers, but as something new, partners forged by pressure. That night Trell recorded a message for his homeworld. "To my people," he began, "we once judged humans by the smoothness of their skin, by their quiet speech, by their small appearance, but what we failed to see was the truth." He continued, "They are molded by the weight of their own planet. They are not feeble. They are forged by gravity itself. And I, too, have been changed." As the message played back in the warship above, silence fell in the command deck. General Rathal stood slowly, looking out at Earth with new eyes. "We came as conquerors," he said, "but Earth has conquered us in body, in spirit, in understanding." The next day, the Varnik warship left Earth's orbit, not in retreat, but in respect, carrying with it a new memory, a new mindset. And somewhere deep in the Varnak training camps, future soldiers would train under artificial gravity set exactly to Earth's weight, not to mock humanity, but to become stronger, just like them.